All right. I'm glad to see people are making it back. I apologize for that. It's not my internet. I've got like very good internet here. I have no trouble doing anything but streaming on YouTube. I mean, my kids can play a video game in one room, a video game in the other, and I can stream a movie in here. Nothing's ever interrupted. But whenever I start to live stream for some reason, they tend to get interrupted here lately. But I'm glad to see everybody's making it back. I forget what number I was on, so I'm going to try and pick this up. As let's see here. Oh yeah, all right. Books were the last thing I talked about, and books to me are very important. I mean, I don't just sit around and read books all day long, but I like to read books that are fact based. And what I mean by that is I like to read edible plant. I just bought another book on edible plants, off the internet just a couple of days ago. I like the military manuals, even though I've read them a bunch of times. I read them all the time and practice and stuff like that. But books can be extremely important because we have to take into consideration that, a lot of people will want to have books, not just to learn about plants, to learn about first aid, but to help educate their children. Because that's one of my biggest concerns, getting a little off subject here. But with the lockdowns and with the coronavirus and with everything we're seeing, going on right now, is the children that are getting left behind. How many children are getting left behind right now because of what's going on with the government and because of what's going on just in the world? These children are the ones that are suffering. They're the ones growing up with a subpar education. They're the ones growing up in a world that's completely, backwards in a lot of different ways. But getting back on subject here. All right. Number 22, another good tradable item, another good barter item is going to be your water filters, water purification tablets, and even water carrying devices like canteens, like jugs. People are going to need this. Not everybody's prepared. We're all preppers here. I mean, I'm sure everybody in here has got a ton of water purification and know how to do it. Speaking about that, I had a question right before my live stream ended. How to purify water, or how to remove the salt from salt water. All right. Well, there's several processes that do that, but I'm going to tell you the simplest process, the easiest process to do that, if you do not have specialized equipment, is to boil your water. Okay. Cover your water with a plastic sheet or plastic, a piece of plastic, so that the water vapor hits the plastic, condensates, and runs down the edges. Have a bigger pan at the bottom to catch that water. And what eventually will happen is the water that's boiled out or evaporated out of that original pot with salt water, the water itself will evaporate out and it will leave the salt in that pot. So you can desalinize water by simply boiling. It would require a little more device building, but you can use what's called a solar still. And in a warm environment, if you live in anywhere that, water is prone to evaporate outside, then basically, let's put it like this. You take a pot of water, right? And you set that pot on a small little piece of wood and you set it in a big pan. You cover that pot of water with a piece of plastic and you leave it out in the sun. That water is going to evaporate, but it's not going to go into the atmosphere because it's going to hit that plastic. It's going to condensate and it's going to run down the sides and drip into that bigger pan underneath your pot of salt water. And what you're going to be left with eventually is a pot of salt, and then the lower pan being a pot of purified water. And that's called a solar still. I think I featured that in a couple of videos, but if you look that up online, it's a real easy device to build, but that will desalinize your water safer than anything else. Well, distilling it and all that, of course, I'm not talking about chemical processes and, extremely difficult processes to duplicate in an SHTF scenario, but a solar still is very easy to build. And it just consists of your pot of water sitting on a block of wood inside a much bigger pot and then cover it with plastic. But make sure that plastic comes down into that bigger pot on the bottom so that when it condensates, it all that water runs down into the bottom right there, and you're left with, pretty much purified water at that point, nothing but H2O. So that kind of stuff that's going to benefit a lot. Okay, going on down. Number 23. Yep, number 23, alcohol. I think we'll all agree with that. Alcohol is going to, people always want alcohol. And if you've got alcohol that you're willing to trade, then that's going to probably bring you top dollar. That's going to bring you as much as medical supplies and things like that, because people like their alcohol. And especially in a really difficult situation like that, people want their alcohol more than they would right now. So alcohol will be an exceptional barter commodity. So would number 24, cigarettes. Cigarettes, people smoke, and people always will smoke. And if you have cigarettes to trade, then you're probably going to be able to, just like alcohol, get top dollar on that. There's just a few things that I believe would truly bring the best barter commodities. And those are your first 8 items. Now, I'm not talking about food and water because, of course, that's all super important. But your first 8 items, alcohol, cigarettes, and the very next one right here, which I believe is number 25, coffee. Coffee. Coffee's going to bring a very nice price on that barter market there, I do believe. Yes, it does take a little while for the solar steel to work. If you're in like where I live at now, Michigan, I'm probably not going to attempt solar steel up here unless I was, happen to be in the middle of summer. But down in Texas, down in Arizona, you can run that solar steel, and you don't have to set up one. You can set up 20 of them side by side, and what you got is one coming in every day at that point. I mean, repetition is the key on stuff like that. Number 27, sort of along the same lines, but a little different, is drink mixes. Okay, drink mixes. And I didn't really think about this too much until I was researching, some of the topics for this video. But, who wouldn't trade for Kool-Aid? Who wouldn't trade for stuff like that so that they can make their family happy, so they make their kids happy? Because what we got to consider, when we start bartering things, when we start trading things, it's not just about what do I need as a 50-year-old man, but it's about what do my kids need? What do my grandkids need? What will they like? What will make their life better? And those types of things are worth money to me. To make my children happy and to make their children happy, then it's worth money to me, as I'm sure it is to anybody that's out there. Number 28, I've put this in there, but this is one of those that we all know, and we may not be willing to part with, and that's food. We know that food is an outstanding barter commodity. The only reason I included it is because every other list I read on the internet included it. And I did include it because some people, have the means that they can trade that. If I were a wealthy man, if I were a wealthy single man, I would probably have more food than I would ever need, in my bunker. And I could definitely afford to trade some of that. A lot of us can't. I've got a decent food supply, but I don't know that I'm willing to trade any of it unless it were a life or death situation. But that's the major commodity. If we really think about it, food and water are the 2 major commodities, because everybody in the world has to have them 2 things. They have to have them 2 things. Number 29. Another one that would be good. It's probably not going to bring top dollar, but it'll do pretty good. And that's your sweets like chocolate, Hershey Kisses, Reese's Cups, things like that. I'm not sure the longevity of some of the sweets out there, but I know chocolate lasts a very, very long time. And for me to store a few chocolate bars, as long as they're in a stable environment to where they're not going to melt, all over the place, then that's going to be something I'm going to be able to trade for. Maybe I'm not going to be able to trade that chocolate for, a day's food for my family, but I might be able to trade that chocolate for something that benefits my family in the long run. Spices, and spices include, salt, pepper, things like that, because these are very important. And maybe I should have entitled that one salt, because salt is probably the most important of them all, because salt will, preserve foods. People that know how to do that, can salt foods and preserve them for a very long time. So salt and other spices are also going to be a pretty good commodity that if you have enough of that you can trade, you're probably going to make a little bit off of. Another one. This one is an outstanding commodity, although it depends on how far along you are in the economic collapse, I guess you would say. Because in the beginning of an economic collapse, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to be hurting at first, but electricity will still flow. And that brings us to this section right here, and it's solar panels. Now, eventually, if this economic collapse does last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then you're going to have people that are displaced from their homes and who are living basically homeless. Some of these people may opt for the woods, some may opt for homeless shelters, but regardless of that, a solar panel, especially the smaller ones, I'm not talking about, your 10,000 watt solar system that you put up on your roof on your house. I'm talking about your solar chargers for your cell phones, for USB devices and things like that. These are going to be very valuable, because for those that can't afford electricity, or for those that are displaced, having a means to charge the devices they still do have will be almost priceless, because in an economic collapse, nobody's going to let you come over and plug into their outlet to charge your device, because that's more money they're paying. And that's one thing we have to take into consideration, is with an economic collapse, the neighborly attitude that a lot of us are used to may go away in a lot of different situations. All right. Number 32, batteries or the ability to recharge them. And there's several different means to recharge batteries. Of course, solar panels, which we mentioned before. If you have batteries, then that's going to be a great barter item. But if you have the means to recharge them, there are other means other than solar power. There are hand devices, there are foot pedal devices, things like that, that you can recharge people's, devices with and make money. And it's not just batteries, but it's, recharging their devices too. Because if we look back at the Great Depression, there was if I recall it correctly, 26% unemployment rate, which is extremely high. That's extremely high. That's 1 out of 4 people are without a job. And then 50% of those became displaced from their homes within the first 3 months. So that means, 12.5% or 13% of the population has no home. And if they have no home, they have no means to, just put it bluntly, charge their devices. And especially, that's the big difference between the Great Depression and what we will face now. The Great Depression, when people lost their jobs and they were homeless, they weren't worried about their cell phones. They weren't worried about, checking their Indeed applications online. They weren't worried about all that. We have to worry about that. If I'm without a job, think about, for anybody out there that's looked for a job recently, did you walk into that place, hand them a paper application, hand them a paper resume, and speak to someone that moment? No, probably not, because I know every job that I've applied for recently or over the last few years, submit a resume online, fill out their application online, set your appointment online, do a Zoom meeting, do a conference call. That's all technology. And if I do not have the means to to use that technology, then I'll never get another job. And that's what it's going to boil down to. Flashlights are another good barter commodity. I would expect these, though, to be a better commodity in a more difficult SHTF. Now, don't get me wrong. Economic collapse is difficult. It's going to be difficult. We're going to go through it. I mean, it's happening now, so we're going to go through it. It's going to be extremely difficult, but you know, other situations may require a flashlight a little more than an economic collapse because there still will be lights on, there still will be electricity, but a flashlight will still be a decent border item. Like I said, I pulled this list, compiled it from everything I read online today. Fire starters. Now, even though most people, I'm going out on a limb here, most people know how to make a fire from scratch, you know, with 2 pieces of wood, hardwood and softwood, know how to use a ferro rod, a fire starter. But these types of devices will still be, you know, something that is tradable in this type of event. Cleaning products. Cleaning products are one of those things that, you know, take up a lot of room. And for me to store, you know, 100 bottles of, you know, glass cleaner just so I can trade it, it's going to be difficult to do. But these, even if you do have them, if you do have the means to store them, these are going to be something that people are going to need in this type of situation. Because an economic collapse is an SHTF scenario, but it's not the same as if a nuclear war hit and wiped out 90% of the population. Everybody's still going to be there. People are still going to need to clean their homes. People are still going to need to clean everything they need to clean. So that's still going to be one of the things that will be able to be traded for whatever you need. Another one that gets overlooked a lot, and I'm guilty of this, trash bags. Trash bags. You know, what are we going to do with the trash that we accumulate? Because if I think about it, if I look around my house right now and I look at the food I have back there and I look at the other stuff and I think if services stopped running tomorrow, how long would it take me to fill up my front yard with trash? And, you know, realistically, it's not going to take that long. Trash bags are going to be something that are really overlooked. They're very overlooked. But it's going to be something that will hold value in that type of situation because people will need them. People need to bag up their trash. We don't want to just throw it in our front yards. Another good one, and this is a really good one, pet food. Doesn't matter who you are. If you got a pet, you love that pet. You know, I mean, just to be blunt, I've had a few pets in my, you know, my life, and I've loved every one of them. You know, they've been great. And if you've got a dog, if you got a cat, if you got whatever kind of pet you got, you know, you love that pet and you want to take care of that pet. Now, some animals will be able to fend for themselves. If I have a big dog, if I have a dog that's decent at hunting, then I have a dog that can, you know, go out there and sort of fend for himself. But not every dog can do that. And we know that. There's a lot of people out there that have these, you know, have really small little dogs and they're not going to hunt anything down and kill it. And so, you know, they're going to have to be fed. And the thing is, you know, I was talking to a company the other day about the same subject right here, not about prepping, but about pet supplies. And you know that there is as much money spent on pet food in the United States every year as there is on baby food. That's a trip. As much money spent on pet food as there is on baby food. People take care of their pets, and I don't blame them. You know, you should take care of your pet, but having pet food in your prep so that you can trade. For me, right here where I'm at right now, I don't have a pet up here. So for me to stock that, you know, I don't have to worry about using it. So it's something I can easily trade for if the time came. Duct tape. Now we know duct tape's basically a fix-all for a lot of different things. I mean, how many of you out there use duct tape to fix something that supposedly couldn't have been fixed? You know, duct tape's great. And that's why duct tape is also going to be something that's good to barter with. And this is something we can easily acquire. And this is something that we can store, you know, relatively simply. And this is something that will, you know, bring us a good barter commodity in the future. Backpacks and clothing bags. We all talk about bug out bags and we talk about our get home bags and we talk about our, you know, all these other bags that we have. I got vehicle bags, bug out bag, long-term bag, get home bag. I got so many bags I don't know what to do with. But a lot of people don't have these bags. And when it comes down to it, people are going to need this stuff. And that's what that's the whole thing about barter. That's the whole thing about barter. It's not that this is going to always be worth this amount. It's about what will people need? What will people need when they truly are without any of the resources that they're used to having right now? And, backpacks and clothing bags are one of those, like the old sea bags from the military. And these are going to be items that are not on everybody's list to barter for, but for those people who are displaced from their home due to an economic collapse, they're going to have to, really think about that. And they're probably going to, open their mind a little bit to trading for this type of device or this type of thing. Another good thing, it depends on what part of the nation you're in here. And this one does sort of depend on what part of the nation you're in. But this is fishing poles, lures, things like that, and bait for people to fish with. So this is going to be a great barter commodity. And I think it's going to be really good, especially in the beginning, because everybody thinks they are going to grab a fishing rod and throw a hook in the water and they're going to get that dinner for the night. But it's not always that simple. And a lot of people are going to be discouraged. But in the beginning, everybody who's heading out is going to want one of these. So if you have some to trade or barter for, you're going to get your money's worth at maybe even more. But, a lot of people aren't going to be able to use them. I mean, they don't know how. They've never had I hate to use the word training, but they've never had anybody sit them down and show them how to fish. It's not as simple as just throwing a hook in the water. And I know a lot of y'all out there are, on the same page as me as this. It takes a little bit of knowledge. You got to know what you're doing, but there will still be a lot of people trading for that. All right. I said seeds earlier. Seeds will be a good barter commodity should you have extra seeds. And to go along with this is the next one on our list, and that's gardening tools. A lot, like I was saying about this list, not many people are gonna, I know I'm not gonna buy everything on this list, but a lot of the stuff on the list, a lot of different people are gonna have. And so that's going to enable bartering back and forth between those people. Gardening tools. It doesn't do me much good to have a pack of seeds that I know will grow if I have no means of planting those seeds and of maintaining those seeds. So that's why gardening tools will also be a decent barter commodity. And, maybe not the best in the world, but they will bring something. Everything is going to bring something. Sleeping bags and blankets. This is definitely going to be a good thing. I think blankets more than sleeping bags. Those that intend on leaving the cities and literally going out in the woods and literally bugging out, they're going to want sleeping bags. But those who are trying to stay close to the cities, hoping that things will just pick back up and everything will get better, they're going to probably lean more towards the blanket side. So either one of these you have that you can spare will probably get you a decent amount in a barter situation. Firewood. And this goes back to our fire starter one, firewood. Not everybody is going to have the means to obtain firewood. And having firewood that's available for sale, that's already chopped and already split and ready to burn is going to give you something. I mean, there's a lot of people that sell firewood right now in a totally, intact environment. So you can imagine when SHTF does occur, that the demand for firewood is only going to increase, and having the ability to meet that demand, is going to only, I guess you'd say, profit you. Tarps, coverings, things like that. Tarps and coverings are also going to be a good barter commodity, but this is also one of those that's questionable. And the reason why I say it's questionable is because how realistic is it for me to store 100 tarps so that I can trade 50 of them next year. And it's probably not very realistic, but if I had these and if I didn't need them, then they probably would make very good barter commodities. Rope, bungee cords, any type of line, any type of line that you can secure something with. Rope, this will be a tradable item. These will probably bring pretty good value in in SHTF or economic collapse. And the second to the last, because I'm going to circle back to one that I think is going to be very beneficial to everybody, is skills. Skills, the second to the last is skills. The more you can do, the better you're going to be at this. If I can teach someone to hunt, if I can teach someone to fish and teach someone to grow crops, how valuable was I to that one person? Probably valuable enough that they'll supply me for a very long time. If I can use my first aid skills to save someone's life, how indebted are they to me? They're indebted to me for, not that I say they should be, but I'm just saying they're going to feel that way towards me. Skills may even be better than a lot of the goods. Some of the goods that we talked about, some of the items we talked about, these are definitely, great items to barter and trade, but don't discount your skill set, because we all have skills. We all have skills in different regions, different areas. And that's what makes groups strong. Groups aren't strong because they've got 100 people that know how to fight. Groups are strong because they've got some people that know how to fight, some people that know how to grow, some people that know how to do first aid, some people that know how to teach, and some people that know how to build stuff along with other people. The more your group knows, the better you will be. And, that's just, if we look back through history, that's just true. I mean, the more things we can do as a group, the more accomplished we'll be, the better we can grow, and the better we can not only defend ourselves, but provide for ourselves. And the number one trading commodity, in my opinion. All right. Now, I'm going to have to say this, though. I did not mention firearms and ammunition. And the reason I did not mention firearms and ammunition on this list is because in this type of scenario, they're going to be limited. In an economic collapse, I can't afford to trade one of my guns because I can't afford to go out and buy another one. I can't afford to trade ammo because I can't afford to go out and buy any more. So I left those off this list. Those are probably number one. I mean, we know that guns and ammo are probably going to be number one on every list. But on this list, babies, baby items, baby formula, baby diapers, baby medications. Because one thing the human race is not going to stop doing, and that's procreating. I mean, unless something happens, and people will take care of babies, and we should take care of babies. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying we should, and we will. And that's why baby formula, that's why baby diapers, that's why, all these other baby goods are going to be not just extremely valuable in, a barter situation, but they're going to be necessary to ensure the survival of the human race. And, it's going to be a very important aspect. All right, so that was the list of barter items. And we covered a lot there. And a lot of those items, I sat down earlier and I wrote a list of the things that I thought would be good to barter. And then I said, well, let's take it a step further. And I went online and started looking at, other people's list. So I incorporated everything that seemed to have common ground throughout multiple lists and tried to compile that list right here into something that, everybody can benefit from. None of us are going to have all this stuff. I know I don't have all this stuff. I don't have a lot of this stuff. And it doesn't matter. The thing is hopefully it'll put an idea in somebody's head that, hey, this is something I can pick up for a couple of dollars here or there, and I can store and, is going to benefit me in the end. We can always trade this stuff. A lot of people say, well, if you stockpile this stuff, you're wasting your money. No, if I stockpile it and I decide 2 years from now I don't need it, I can sell it on eBay. So, I mean, it's not like you're hurting yourself by getting ready, for these type of events. Thank you. And on that list, there's a lot of things that you may need personally. And those kind of things, of course, like when it comes to myself, I can only speak about myself. When it comes to myself, for things that I personally need, those I do not consider for barter items. But I do actually purchase things that I don't need because maybe I get a good deal on them. And maybe I got them at a good price at this auction, or maybe they were on sale or on clearance, and I got this stuff. That'll be something I can trade, or at the very worst, I can sell later on down the line online somewhere in some online store, online format. Yeah, save yourselves. I hear you. I mean, that's a dilemma, and that's the dilemma. There was a comment. It was like the first comment on the video when I put up the the thing for the live stream. And good point. I should have included that. Canning jars, oily prepper. I should have said that. That's a good one. That's the number 51, or however many I went. Canning jars. But yeah, it's going to be hard to trade with somebody who's got a newborn or a young baby there, and they're sitting there telling me, hey, my baby's starving to death. I need some formula, and I got this can of formula, and I'm like, what you got to trade? And they don't have nothing to trade. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, I'm not going to let a baby die. I mean, I don't think most people will, but that's the problem. That is the problem with barter. That is the problem with the barter system, is that not only are some people going to try and take advantage of that, because that same family that comes up to me and says, my baby's crying, my baby's starving, they're dying, they might be walking back to their bunker. You just don't know that. But am I going to take that chance? I guess that's a call that we have to make when that time comes, and just have to play it by ear. But there's also a lot of people out there that's going to come up and they're going to barter with them. Oh yeah, you got this. Oh, I got this. I'll trade you this for your stuff, and it's going to sound like a good deal. And then when you meet up, there's about 10 of them, and they got guns, and there's one or two of you. So barter is not a safe thing to do. It's not like walking into a store today and at my local 7-Eleven and buying a 2-liter. That's safe. But bartering with individuals you've never met before, and you're bartering to them supplies they need to stay alive, it's a very good possibility they may just take those supplies, or attempt to take those supplies. All right. I just wanted to share that, because barter items. I'm going to talk more about barter items in some more videos, because I feel like barter items change with the type of scenario that you're in. And the video coming out this week, just a little foreshadowing of it. It's basically breaking things down into different categories, because as I look across YouTube and as I look across the internet, if you type in the word or the acronym SHTF on Google, you're going to get everything from an asteroid impact to a CME to an EMP to a nuclear war to an economic collapse to everything. And it's not all the same. It's not all the same. I don't need the same things to survive an economic collapse as I do need to survive a nuclear war. There are different things I need for that. And that's why I want to come out with the video this week, is to talk about the differences in that. Some supplies will carry over for no matter what the event is. It doesn't matter what it is. Food, water, first aid, that carries over to everything. Because without those three, we're dead. But radiation detectors, I don't need those in the economic collapse. But if I don't have it in a nuclear war, I may very well be walking into a contaminated area and, die very shortly after that. So there's a lot of different things we have to take into account. And I really want to put a lot of time in that video, and I want to make it good for y'all so that we can look at it and say, this makes sense. These events are different. I mean, every SHT event's different, just like every event that happens in our daily life is different. Yesterday wasn't the same as today, and tomorrow ain't going to be the same neither. And, that's why understanding the type of event we have and the type of gear necessary to survive that event and the type of supplies we need to stockpile for each particular event could be a lifesaver for somebody. And that's what it's all about. It's just somebody helping somebody. Does anybody have any questions about any of those, anything that we've talked about tonight? I want to take some questions if everybody's got any questions. Keisha, that's a good point. There are 3 phases of barter: pre-collapse, during the collapse, and after the collapse. Avoid all barter during the collapse phase. Words of wisdom right there from Keisha. Very, very, that was a very profound statement, because during the collapse, things that seem valuable are not going to be valuable 2 weeks after that, because during the collapse, people are going to value things that get them to where they're going right at that moment. And, I would pay more to get that gas in my car to get me home. It's sort of hard to explain, but that is such a good point. It's after the collapse when people settle in to the fact that we are in an economic collapse, then prices will begin to stabilize. If you want to use that terminology, prices stabilize, but things will begin to enter a more bartering phase, because what you're going to see during the collapse, like she pointed out, is that during that collapse, people are going to be robbing you. You think about it. If there's a collapse right now, the stock market collapses, and they come on the news and they say everything's going to crap, and I go to the gas station and try to fill up with gas, dudes are going to be like, oh, it's $20 a gallon, or it's, $50 for this 2-liter, or it's $20 for this bag of chips, because they can, because they know I'm worried, they know I'm excited. So that is some very, very good advice. Don't barter during the collapse. That's why we prep, is so we don't have to barter during those phases like that. Wait until things settle down. Wait until we see not necessarily an outcome, but we see a structure of some type. We see how things are headed. And then you can begin the bartering phase. But if you begin right away trying to trade off the things you got, you're going to get ripped off. That's an excellent point. I wish I would have thought about that, And I thought about it, but I didn't really, incorporate it. Thank you. And that's another good point. If groups are more important than people realize. It's easy for me in a civilized society to sit here, I could cut myself off from society. I don't have to ever leave that front door. I can order everything I need online. I can get everything I ever need delivered to my front door, but I know nobody. I know no one. I have no allies that way. And that's why I'm making groups. When we say groups, I don't necessarily mean 50 to 100 people. A group can be 3 or 4 people that you trust, that you truly trust, that you can work with. People that have the same goal. And all of our goal is the same thing. And it's just to survive and to make the best life we can make out of what we got left. And, so group survival is extremely important. Yes. Animos, a book on edible plants in North America. I'm going to show you a picture of it. I just ordered another one because I lost my last copy, but I'm going to show it to you. This book right here. That's a very good book. Did you get that? Very good book. Very comprehensive. It's got color pictures of, thousands upon thousands of edible plants, the seasons you can eat them in. Because some plants are poisonous during certain parts of the year, whereas others are not. But I know there are a lot of good books out there, but and I don't sell this, or nothing like that. I don't make no money off of it. I'm just saying this one is good for me. It works for me. I'm sure it'll work for anybody, but there are also multitudes of other ones out there, but that is one good one right there. All right. All right. Well, I said we was going to do a little impromptu giveaway here. And what I've been doing is, I don't think it's any secret that, I live in Michigan and I want to get back down to South Carolina as soon as I can. So I've been sort of thinning out some of my inventory. And what I mean is, over the years, I've stockpiled literally boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff. And some of it I don't need that much of. So I'm going to give a little bit away tonight, and every live stream I do, I'm going to be giving some of this away again, because I'd rather somebody get some use out of it than me have, 100 of the things that we're fixing to see. And nothing major here. Thank you, Oily Prepper. I'll be glad to be back in SC. That's my home, that's my home, and nothing like it. That's my favorite place in the world. But gonna be giving away some stuff like this, just because I can, I guess. I don't need it. I got a ton of supplies. But this stuff, it's nothing major, but somebody might like it. So let's check it out right here. All right, it's gonna start off with, I got a whole box of these, so I'm gonna be doing more of these giveaways. I got the Frog Togs right here. A lot of people may be familiar with these, may not be. These are the, I'm going to open one up. And you see they're all in packaging. And what this thing is I got to get used to this new webcam. It's different from my other. It feels like cardboard when you first open it, but it's a cooling cloth. If you dampen this and put it around your neck, it really will keep you cool in the summer months. I use them while I'm hiking and stuff. You'll like these a lot. It's going to be 2 of these in the pack, in the giveaway here. Let me put it back in there. Right there. 2, I'm going to open one of these up, but I got a bunch of them that ain't open. 2 cold weather, or whatever weather you want to wear them in. You can wear them in the heat if you want to. Face mask, camouflage face mask right here. And they, I'll put it on. I got a bunch of them. So it's like, it's one of these. You can pull up as tight as you want. Keep yourself a little cool. Hey, you could even use this as a Corona mask if you wanted to. And, just something like that. But a couple of those, and they actually do keep you warm. I mean, they really do. And they also mess up your hair. Not like it really matters with my hair anyway. And one more thing. Or 2 more. I'm going to do 2 of everything. 2 masks. 2 Frog Togs. And 2 packs of chem lights that you can hang up in your campsite. Use them for emergency purposes. You shake and break. And these are supposed to hold light for about 2 hours. I've used multiples, types of these in my lifetime. Military, we used them all the time. As you can see them right here. In this particular one, I can't guarantee you'll get these colors that you see right here, because I'm just sort of going to reach into the bag and put them in an envelope. But two packs of chem lights, 3 lights in each pack. 2 Frog Togs. Keep you cool. These are actually pretty cool. I like these better than anything else in this. And then 2 of the baklavas here, or, head mask, whatever you want to call them, Corona mask, whatever you want to call it. All right. So we're going to do this like we do all the other giveaways. I'm going to write a number down on this back of this piece of paper. And as soon as I write that number down, I'll tell you what range it falls in. And I want everybody to guess. And whoever guesses that, you get the prize. All right. Okay, the number is going to be between 1 and 100. So ready, set, go. Boom. There we go. Prep for it. Prep for it. You got it, my friend. Prep for it. 72 is the number. I got to get used to that camera. I don't know if that's showing on my screen. It shows backwards. Hopefully it shows forward in your screen. That's a 72. Prep for it. You got it. Let's see, right back up here at 72. So let me do that. So prep for it. I'm going to reply to your comment if I can here. Let me see. No, just going to, I'm going to say, I think I say at prep for it. If hopefully that works out right. But prep for it. You know who I'm talking to. And email me at survivor@SiriusSurvivor.com. All right. I want to make sure you got that. Prep for it. All right. Email me survivor@SiriusSurvivor.com. And I'll get that out to you. It'll be this Friday when I get paid for. I ship it out. So you should get it like mid next week sometime. I got a bunch of these. So I'll tell you what. Let's do another one. What do y'all say? Y'all want to do another one? Let's do another one. All right. And this one is going to be, all right. All right. And this one is going to follow basically the same guidelines, 0 to 100. And whoever guesses it first gets it. So let's go. 0 to 100. Oily Prepper. Oily Prepper got it. Oily Prepper. That was pretty fast. That was a pretty fast one. Oily Prepper with number 23. All right. So Oily Prepper. All right. So Oily Prepper, you won that one. Email me at survivor@SiriusSurvivor.com and I will get that out to you this Friday. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope it helps out. I think you said you was down in South Carolina. Is that right, Oily Prepper? Or I think. Because if you are, you're gonna need that cooling rag. I'm from South Carolina. I know how hot it gets down there in summer. All right. Now I got a whole box of these, y'all. And both of these prizes tonight, it's the same thing. You're gonna get two of the frog togs, 2 of the baklavas, and 2 packs of Kim lights. So that goes out to both of you. I want to get back to doing the on Saturday nights, doing a live cast every Saturday night. I sort of missed that these last couple Saturday nights. Just had a lot going on. Y'all know how it is, man. You get busy with work. Sometimes you get busy with things, and it's just hard to maintain sometimes. But starting this Friday night, I'm going to be doing, Saturday, not Friday. Saturday night, going to start the live streams again. I'm going to try and maintain that every Saturday night and try and, I don't really want to get real political on the channel. I want to just touch on some of the things that might have happened that week, but then really talk about some things we can do as survivors, as preppers, to make our lives better and to make our futures better and to help each other out if we can, because that's what it's all about, man. Is helping out those who need it. And that's what it's all about. All right, y'all. Well, before YouTube cuts me off again, because I'm hitting on about 50 minutes here, I believe they're gonna cut me off probably because they cut me off all the time. I just want to say thanks a lot for everybody coming out and listening to me tonight. I hope somehow, I hope the list helps out. I hope anything I said helps somebody out there, because that's all it's about. That's all it's about, is helping each other out and, just doing the best we can. And I just want to say God bless everybody. And, and I really appreciate you coming out tonight. I'm going to have the video out later this week, and I'm going to